Sorry, I'm late. I had a bit of a haunting. I'm not surprised because today's prompt is beast. So all sorts of beastly things have been happening, and it's very near to Halloween. So this is bound to happen. Beasts don't like being even mentioned. They don't like being told they're beastly, and they really don't like to be drawn. So I'm afraid I've drawn the beast out, and some of the things that were going to be happening on this show and may happen and may not happen on this show now are um, live drawing of today's prompt. This was yesterday's one. We're on day 27 now, so we're only 31 days in Inktober. Um, so we have to bring the story to a conclusion, but it's going to be very difficult because the beast is made off with my drawing, which I had started for the prompt beast. And the beast probably ate it or something because I cannot find it. I had various interesting bits of things glued to it and was about to start drawing live. And I've dug around looking for it everywhere and can't find it. So I have to start it again because you can't let a beast put you off these things. So that's one of the things that's going to be happening on the live stream. And I know probably the beast will hack it up towards the end of the live stream. Um, after I finish the second drawing, because it's a mean. Well, beasts tend to be mean like that. But I'm lucky, you see, because I have a reference for this drawing and I have carbon paper, so I can get the main lines of the drawing down before I start drawing with some of my new materials, and I'll be showing you some of the new materials as well. And some of the new materials I won't be using today because they're too new. I haven't tried them out yet. I have a new nib, and we're up nice and close today, so hopefully, if the beast doesn't mess with the camera, we'll be able to see my lovely new nib. That's a Brosa nib, um, which I got in the set. They're blue steel like a Zoolander, and they're kind of flex nibs. So they take a little bit of practice and prep before you use them because you have to clean some of the oil off them before you use them. Haven't used that yet. So I will be using on today's live stream my beloved Nico G nib, which is a kind of a manga style nib, but you can use it for calligraphy as well. And I have been getting into calligraphy. Actually, I was using up. I did say I might use up some of my calligraphy practice for some of these daily prompts, and I did a kind of an Egyptian tomb day on day 24 and got to use some of them. Uh, but I have some new supplies which I'm going to show you before I start drawing. And the other thing we're going to do on this live stream is make some sparkly ink, and that could be spooky or not, because I don't know whether the colors are going to be nice or scary. And I am doing things like this was the bit of prep that survived. I'm still scanning the room looking for that drawing that got lost because I'm annoyed because um the glue should be dry on those bits now, which it's not going to be if I have to start again. But these I did just before the live stream because ink needs time to dry and it looks different when it dries. So some of these are mixes that I made up myself. None of them are glittery, would you agree? But I am going to, with some of the mixes that I made, make glittery ink, which is wonderful because so far, adding the pages that have had glitter on, the thing I've been using most is this Kuretake is the brand glitter starry colors palette. called a Starry Colours palette, and just mixing that with the ink. And that's highly successful. But you can mix mica powder directly with ink as well, you see. And I just want to show you this stuff, which is gum arabic. And with gum arabic, I have a big, huge container of it there, and it's a powder, as you can see. If you mix a few drops of water in with a little bit of gum arabic, you can use that as a binder to mix pigments. And I had been using it before for making these kind of watercolory pigments with the mica powders. So, and it's great fun to do because you can pick up these powders quite cheap online. And I got these ones. Didn't get the box with them, and I didn't get the little bottles with them, but I got little sachets of them on Amazon. I'll show you a sachet actually because you can see how they came. So these are very fine powdered sparkly particles. And sorry, I'm just checking that the stream is live because I don't trust anything today with Beast around. So these come in lots of different colors, and I got packets of different colors really, really cheap. So they're a nice thing to use for this. And if I was making watercolors, I might add a little bit of glycerin or a little bit of honey as well. But these things are really easy to get, and they come in beautiful colors. Like I have some colors in this I really love. So what about if I took an ink color and added some sparkly bits that I really like in? I don't know if it's going to work or not because I haven't done it before, but I propose to do it today. And they need time to dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little test swatch of sparkliness first. Then I'm going to start drawing my drawing and do today's prompt beast. And I'm also going to show you some materials. So just before I start the swatching, I'm going to show you the rest of materials I got. And I got some new inks. This is one of the colors that I got. I can see it swatched up here. It's a diamine ink. I really like those. And it's a sunshine yellow. It's really beautiful. So you can see I have that, and I have a green, and the green is new as well. And the bottle is lovely. This is a small size diamine, which just comes in a plastic bottle. But this is a Jacques Herbin ink, and this is non sparkly or reflective or anything like that, but it comes in a very nice bottle with the pen rest on it, and it's this green. And the interesting thing about inks is they look different on different papers. So this is how it looks on a heavy watercolor paper. But I'm interested in getting a nice sparkly green, and I do a lot of work. I'm thinking about after Inktober now as well. I do a lot of landscapey stuff, and there's a thing that some inks do that I absolutely love, and it is a way of pooling. They pool, and when I'm mixing up things, working away for Inktober, I end up with a lot of pieces of paper that look like these kinds of things from trying out different mixes. I've gone through all these pieces of paper and they're actually all organized and everything because I looked for that. Um, I looked for that drawing that I had started all over the table. I can't find it anywhere. So I came up with some nice colors. These are all mixes. And they're very different from watercolors because they're just so intense. You get really, even when you water it down quite a lot, you get really intense colors. But imagine how nice some of those would be with glitter, you see. Um, I love this color. I can't remember how I made it, unfortunately. I know one of my other new colours is in it. This guy here, Rouge Grenat by Jacques Herbin. And that is favorite color. I got two reds. One of the reds didn't turn up, so I will never find out what Diamond's writer's blood looks like. But this is what the Rouge Grenat looks like when dry, and it is a thing of beauty. It's got warm cadmium tones, and it's got cool alizarin tones, and it has teeny tiny, 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 tiny little gold particles. It's so beautiful. That's why I did my intro with all particles at the beginning. I don't know how much you caught, but we'll play the spooky bit at the end. And then you can make gorgeous colours from it, you see, like this. So that's Rouge Grenat, and I think it might be a watered down black, or possibly, you see, I didn't take notes on this. It's important to take notes when you're making new mixes. Um, it might possibly have been my other new color, Earl Grey, which is a lovely color. It's supposed to be like a neutral gray, but it actually has blue tones in it. I have it in that one there. And you can see both the pooling effect and the tones in it. There are reddish tones in there as well. So I don't know, did I have it in that color? That might be my Jacques Herbin red with Earl Grey. And that has, I've put a little bit of shimmer in that, but it's from my palette. So that would be lovely if I made up a mix of something involving that. But you see, you have to have something to store these in. And my other purchase is very interesting because I got these little guys in it, droppers, which are very important. And this guy in it, this is another Amazon very cheap thing, but you got a lot in it. A little funnel, I find that so useful. If you don't have a funnel, a little bit of plastic from sort of the corner of something that was contained in plastic, like a cake or something like that, would do you as a funnel to run your ink down. But when you're making your own blends and using inks like watercolor, these are handy. You get a syringe that has both a tube and a kind of a thin syringy end on it for pulling up inks out of bottles. And then you also get in little storage bottles, which you can't see the colour in, but it very helpfully gives you little stick-on labels, which are very cute. You'd run out of them quickly, but you know, labels are very cheap to buy. But these are brown labels, but I could, for my colors, if I make a color mix like this, for example, I can cut a little sample square and stick that on with the label for my color mix, you see. And then I've kept the ink in a little bottle to use again, because it's a pity wasting these things, isn't it? Okay, so that's the plan. So we'll start out with swatching, but I want to show you first what the plan is for the rest of October, because you know, you want to compare notes if you're doing Inktober, and you want to know what the heck I'm going on about if you're not doing Inktober. So from here to the 31st, right, it's getting scarier for people participating, because if you've gone what could be called the stupid route, like me, um, you will have tried to tie up all the prompts into some sort of story, to create a storyline where all the prompts tie together. And the prompts aren't necessarily, when somebody was choosing the prompts, they didn't necessarily have the prompts relating to each other in their own minds. So it gets increasingly tricky as you go along to have a coherent story going, if that's the way you've approached it, like me. And I did an upload where I did the first 15 days, and I called the upload the story so far. So for the last, from day 16 to 31, I will do another upload Maybe not on not on Halloween itself. I don't know. I'll try and get it done for Halloween, but because I have a prompt to do that day as well, it's going to be really. And I've got a getting my eyes tested that day as well. So I've got a lot of things going on that day. And I have to get the house ready for the arrival of trick or treaters at the door. And I've got to decorate outside and cut grass and all these weird things. So there's a lot going on. But I'll try to have that on the 31st because, everybody forgets about Halloween the day after, don't they? But the purpose of that upload is to finish the story. So um the first one was called The Story So Far. So it might be called something like How the Story Ends. But this is what I've had to plan now because on day 27, you've only got 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 5 days left. And you've got to tie the loose ends up in the story and have it all turn out nicely. I want a happy ending in the story, personally. And we're on Beast now. So I had to think for the next prompts, tomorrow's prompt. Spoiler for anybody who doesn't want to know what tomorrow's prompt is. I don't think there were very many people working like that. I was working like that at first. And for a long time, I wasn't looking at the next day's prompt. And I wasn't trying to think of a whole story at the beginning because I thought I'd lose interest. But I have to look at the ending now, don't I? Because I have to get it to resolve. I have to get the story to resolve. So Beast today, I had to really sit down, think about this because I had to think about it in relation to tomorrow's one, which is Sparkle, and then uh, 30 Rush and Fire is 31. So, and then the story ends, you see. So, this is going to be a bit of a spoiler, but if you don't remember or haven't seen that first upload, um, you won't remember it ended on a cliffhanger, and this is kind of the resolution of what happened after that. So today's one of Beast is the queen has a lot of beastly characteristics in this, and the beast had been giving chase, the queen had been giving chase to the evil frog prince who, he shapeshifts, turns back into just plain old prince sometimes, but the frogs um were helping him escape, you see. So this is actually the queen coming out of the castle because when she goes into beast mode, you see, um, she tends to destroy things by fire that way. But the frogs, while the queen is out trying to get the evil prince to recover the evil prince, who the frogs have helped escape, the frogs are planning to get the goodies that the evil prince originally stole at the beginning of the story, where we met him in the forest, where he had a stolen grail, a chalice, and he had um, coin that he had stolen as well. So they've decided while the queen is away, the frogs will play, and they've headed off to the castle to uh, steal the stuff back, basically. And I doubt they're going to share it with the prince, but the prince is having terrible trouble today because, oh my God, I've lost this piece of paper as well. Don't panic. See, I have so much stuff to show you. This is half the reason I'm losing things. I have lost it. It's the queen. I'm telling you, it's the queen has come and grabbed it back. Okay, I'll have to check where it's not. It's not in those two. Oh, I didn't show you the other thing. So much stuff to show you today. Here's the other innovation that I made for this book. This actually goes around it twice, upcycled from a belt that's broken. But I didn't like to throw it out because I said that looks like something I want to use for something. So this belt, I'm not really closing it properly. I said my Inktober book sketchbook is so thick now that it's going to need to have a ribbon or something to close it. But this is quite a nice way of closing it, isn't it? I think it looks really good on it. I've still got the few pages to go, so it's probably going to be thick enough to close tightly, but I can put another hole in it if it doesn't. And it looks like there's a fairy tale in there, doesn't it? So let's see, can I find my second drawing that's gone missing now? I should call on God because the beast is loose. There's a piece of paper as well. Oh, that's a start. And I need to find my drawing is in it. I would like to find that before I do my swatching. This is the mess that I'm working in towards the end of Inktober. And it, you know, when I'm working normally, it doesn't get a whole lot cleaner. Oh my goodness, I can't find that. Where did I put it, folks? There. So I have decided I don't want to do it on that paper. That is the watercolor paper. I've decided to do today's one on a smooth paper. So I'm going to be tracing that and then drawing. And I've got a half an hour. This could happen. Not the whole drawing, but it can happen. Get the tracing done anyway. And then you'll see the drawing later when I upload a short. So for people who don't want to watch shorts, watch out for a longer upload within the next few days of how the story ends. So let's get my sparklies out and a piece of paper to do some swatching because these are going to take till the end of the stream to dry. And it's such a dark day today. It's quite cozy, but I'm hoping you can see okay. So I have one color out and I just want to see what it is. Ah, yeah, that's a brown. So I had thought it would be nice to have a sparkly brown. This is a reddy brown because it's that color, right? Which was Diamond Sunshine Yellow, Jacques Herbin Vert Olive, which is an olive green in English. Then they were mixed into a green because I wasn't happy with the greens I have. I have that green and I have a green that's nearer to this Diamine Aurora Borealis, which is basically a blue green. But I have a sort of Viridian green calligraphy ink, which is this one here. It's a nice one. And it does that lovely things that some inks do, which is reflect two different colors. So I love that one, but it's a very strong Viridian. And I want something that's very mossy. And I want sparkle. And then I'm going to go darker and do reddy browns as well. So this is why I've started introducing my Jacques Herbin garnet red there. And this is what I've ended up with. Okay. Over here, I'm looking at the idea of maybe another mix with some Earl Grey and some Aurora Borealis. I use that a lot in mixes. But I want these all to have sparkle elements. So theirs is without sparkle. So let's decide. See, that's it wet. It's going to look a different color when it's dry. So we will come back to these at the end. I don't need to mix up very much of one color. It is a beautiful color. It's a very rich, warm brown. And I know how I got it because I have the notes for it there and I can write a note underneath this again. I have little swatch notebooks that I can put in notes of how I arrived at these colors. Sorry. Now, what color do I want to have in that? Well, I love this color, but this is an apple, a golden green. I love that color, but I might have that with a paler blue. So I want some deep brown sparkle, or I was thinking this might be interesting. This is a black, right? But it's not a really black, it's a browny black. And if I can I'll show you as a test what it looks like on its own. Now, be aware, this has no binder in it. So what I'm using to mess with these colors is one of these. And these colors, if you buy them, do not breathe them, no matter what you do. Don't breathe them. They're not very good for you. And you will feel very allergic and sneezy and everything afterwards. So they're, I suppose it's like breathing stone, or I don't know if they're stones or crystals or what. Crystals are kind of stones, aren't they? So there's the actual thing, but no gum arabic in it for binder, but I'm just showing you what that looks like on its own. It's a soft black, right? But that is not going to stay put terribly well without binder in it. Now there doesn't look like there's loads of sparkle in it at the moment, but at the same time it hasn't dried. And that's the thing with inks, you think there's no sparkle in them, then when they dry they get sparkly. But that gum arabic, if I was using that stuff on its own, I'd put the gum arabic in. But I'm using it suspended in an ink. So I don't mind. I don't mind at all that it doesn't have gum arabic in. And I don't want to have acres of sparkle in this. I just want a bit. And I'm mixing up a sample of this color because I'm not going to filter it off into bottles until I get my mix sussed out that it's a mix that I like. But if I come up with a mix that I like, I'll be sorted, you see. So it actually changes the color, that mica powder being in it, and we have to see what it looks like when it dries. So what I'm going to do is, that is a red, green, yellow mix with black sparkle. So, I mean, I could go to town and put in golds and things in that if I wanted to, or I could have a rose sparkle in it, or I could have I have a beautiful, I nailed through this color actually, if I can find it, that color, not that color, it's a bronzy color. Uh, it's just called brown, but it's just the most beautiful bronze color. I love it. I could put that in it if I want to, but because that's the first mix, you see, I'm keeping it fairly simple. So I'm going to do another kind of mix. Now I'm going to do a green, then I'll start drawing them. We'll just let those sit. Okay, so that's my first mix, and I'm going to avoid those for the next one. So I can see that starting to dry already, and I can see the black coming up. Black has silvery tones. That's going to be interesting. That is the sparkle only. See, I have this great capacity to forget immediately. One, two, three. Now, so that's experiment one. And you end up with really subtle things happening if you do this. Now, you can see when I got into this Earl Grey and Diamond Aurora Borealis, um, I mixed that with that color. So I added Earl Grey into that color and got a more purpley thing because Earl Grey, the diamine Earl Grey, has a purpley cast to it. But what I want to do is I want to make a palish purple. So this is where my dropper comes in very handy. For not infecting the ink with what you were doing last. Even the brush picks up color, you see. So you can see how it was worth doing a swatch with just basic colors on it. This is just Earl Grey. I thought this was a mix, but I'm looking at it now. The colors on this side are just the original colors, okay? Because you have to have a control sample if you're mixing colors. I feel like a chemist. It's great, isn't it? So that's what that's dry now. So that's your diamond grey. And if you're adding more water, obviously the color is going to be a bit different. So I'm only adding tiny. So I want a bluey color, okay? And I don't want to add Aurora Borealis in this one because Aurora Borealis is a very in your face color. But I am going to take a little bit of green and add it into my Earl Grey. And actually, that's quite a lot. It might be a bit much. So whatever powders you, if you wanted to try this, whatever powders you get, obviously will. Oh my goodness, this is going to be just gold, gold, gold. This is, I have far too little Earl Grey in this for the mix. The green is coming out as gold. Look at this. I'll show you. That's, you wouldn't notice it that much when it's dry, but when it's in the container, you see it. Look at the gold coming out. So that green had a lot of gold in it, a greenish gold. That wasn't quite what I was looking for, to be honest with you. But so let's just go with more Earl Grey. Where did I put the Earl Grey down? This is me today, losing everything. That's Aurora Borealis, is it? Yeah. I'm looking for another bottle like that. This is why it's nice getting different brands of things. You recognize the bottle. Let's do a little bit beside it because I don't think I'm going to want that much glitter. Yeah, it's just turning a bronzy color now. So that's gonna, it is going to be a cold mix because if you look at this, although it has a reddish color in it, the overwhelming color is a purpley blue, really. So I do want a little bit of that, but I don't want that much. That's more like it. Because that is some strong powder, that one. No, it wasn't flash white I used. It was green. Where did I put that? See, you might be more organized than me. Oh, that's beautiful. See, it doesn't take over. The greeny gold doesn't take over. And then we'll do one more color. So Earl Grey, which is a diamine color, but I know that, with green sparkle. I'm calling them mica powder sparkle. And we'll do one more, and then we'll let them dry and do the full one. Okay, so for the last one, I want a green. So I need something else to mix in. Have another little mixing. And this is going to be, I'm using yellow, but I'm avoiding using this sort of yellow, which is an acrylic, because it doesn't have the blending properties I want, having acrylic in it. And this is why I bought that Diamine Sunshine Yellow, for its blending properties. So I can clean off the dropper just in my little thing of water there and not infect the ink that way. I don't want to mess up my nice colors, you see, when I'm doing a lot of mixing. So we know what the Sunshine Yellow looks like because we have it there dried already. I haven't even looked at comments. I'm so sorry. That's okay. There's nobody there. Sometimes people don't watch these things till later. And then later, you see, after I've done my prompt for the day and everything, I go around later on, and my downtime is checking out what everybody else has done and delighting in it. And I have so enjoyed working. Basically, it's kind of working with other people on a project. That's my Vert Olive de Jacques Urban color. Um, And I want to thank everybody for being so nice to me when I go over and visit you on your videos and things that you're putting up, and ooh and ah over what you're doing, because I've had such fun with it and such fun meeting people. Now let me do another little test here of that color. So that's it's now quite a yellow ochre color. And in fact, I wanted it darker. So what am I going to, how did I arrive at that? Just more green. That's it, with loads of green in. Just to get back to that color, you see, because it wasn't a pure color in the mix. So now I'm going to have, I want to have those kind of blue tones in the sparkle, but I don't want to do tones with ink. I want to do it with sparkle. So do I have anything with that kind of color in it that's nice? Ooh, I have an interesting one there. I don't always have exactly the color I want. That's in the kind of okay range, because I wanted a bluey green. Well, that's very nice as well. Did I use that yet? That brown? No, we'll use some of my favorite brown in it. So I think that'd be nice for a deep foresty mossy color. And these are just coffee sticks. And I'm avoiding the end that I've used already. And I'm only going to use, did I use this color already? Brown. See, I've forgotten what I mixed with it. No, black was what I used. So this is the color that I said I really love this. This is for a, did I say this already? This is for a bath bomb set. They advertised it as, oh, great for making bath bombs. They have lots of different applications for these mica colors, but one would be tempted to add Earl Grey into that. But I mean, it's horses for courses. This is the basic color. It needs more green, actually. This is the basic color, but with the sparkle in, and you can't see any of the sparkle yet. So that'll be our last mix. So we'll see how that turns out later. And you can see the sparkle already happening in some of the other ones. Isn't it nice? And there's also a thing with inks that's lovely, the way the sparkle pools. And I like that Earl Grey with that green sparkle in it more than this, because I've got stuff that's very like this already. I mean, it depends on what you're using it on, what piece you're using it on. And that is more of an ochre than a green, isn't it? I don't know how I got it. Well, I suppose it's not really that green. It wasn't until I started adding with diamine. What color is that? Yeah, Aurora Borealis, you see. That made it more green. It'd be interesting to see what that sparkle turns out like, but we'll leave it aside for the moment. So that's great fun doing that mixing. Then the other thing that's going to be great fun is when I also purchased these sort of calligraphy nibs for Gothic calligraphy. and I'm enjoying using those. I had to read up about prepping them and everything, and actually with the holder I got, it didn't quite fit, and I had to put tin foil in there to get it to fit properly and everything. But I bought a pad especially for that, which just arrived and I haven't used it yet. A lot of calligraphers recommend particular papers, and this was one of the papers recommended. And this one is called a dot and cross pattern, and I don't know if you see it in this light, but there's a very, very faint dot and cross on this that's very unobtrusive, but it's supposed to help you practice your calligraphy. So, you know, oh, look! I looked in that notebook earlier. You don't know what you're looking at, but I can't tell you how excited I am. I'm glad I talked about calligraphy because that is my piece that I've started. Oh, I'm so happy. This has saved me so much work. The beast has decided to be kind to me because he probably does want to be drawn after all. Because one of the things that I wanted to tell you about was this beast. And he's very hard to see at the moment, but he is inspired by some very old art, okay? Very old at this stage, it's 19th century, but it's a while ago now. But also much older stuff because there is a set of legends, and I think they're actually Welsh in origin, but were known very well in France and everything. And the mythology um, was as prevalent in France of King Arthur and the Round Table. And anybody who followed the first 15 days of my story would see that it was getting very Arthurian, is what they call it. Le Mort d'Arthur is the mythology cycle that's an actual written cycle um, of those stories, beloved by generations of boys really who are into daring do, but there are a lot of maidens in distress in them. Our maiden is not going to be in distress though, um, because although the beast here, I have my little notes that I made last night. This beast is basically, I have discovered, because I did a lot of research last night. I just wanted to look up. The beast was quite dragony in my drawings, so I knew it was kind of the queen had turned into a dragony sort of a beast. But she's basically a questing beast, which I didn't know, but I do now. And this questing beast is a beast that's made up of all sorts of things, which is um, appropriate for the queen because the queen is a shape shifting queen, clearly, a shapeshifter and a time traveler because she's able to go back to Egyptian times as well. We knew that from day 24 when we had an Egyptian tomb. And mythology is a bit like that. It can jump around a bit. It can break all the normal rules of daily life, and that's what's fun about it. But this questing beast was from the Arthurian legends and was supposed to have been made up of a creature that had a snake's head, a leopard's body, and a lion's back hindquarters and a deer's feet. Now, my questing beast is a slightly different beast. She's going to have frog's legs because she's got a frog army, hasn't she? Some of them have turned on her, but basically, or she's defended by a frog army. And so this one here, this weird sticking down of bits of envelopes, which turned up earlier in my work when we were looking at the path prompt early on. I'm picking that back up again, you see, and I've done that with a few themes running through it, kept picking them back up. I'm picking back up the keyhole and the hand motif, where this is the door that the queen has come back to the forest through. And when I looked up the dragon last night and it led me to the Arthurian stuff, um, it led me to some very good illustrators that I'm going to recommend that you go and look up just for inspiration, not just for Inktober, which is nearly over, but just for having your head blown by some really good illustrators. And the first one I'll mention is Aubrey Beardsley, because Aubrey Beardsley um, is kind of the inspiration for this patterning on the dragon. And the Aubrey Beardsley drawings of the questing beast are terrific. Just if you put in the questing beast Aubrey Beardsley into Google, you'll see the drawings that I'm talking about. They're actually, I think they might be etchings. I'm not 100% sure, but just amazing. A very sort of Japanese sense of design with pattern and everything, but very dramatic and beautiful as well. And very relevant to anybody working with doing ink work and the drawing skills that go into ink work, and then the sense of design as well. And then the other illustrator that I wanted to mention was Arthur Rackham, whose stuff I had never come across him before, or if I did, I'd forgotten about him. And Arthur Rackham also illustrated uh, illustrations of the questing beast amazingly. So they're Arthurian, they're for the Arthurian cycle, and probably if you're buying a book that had Arthurian cycle in it, could you could find their illustrations in it these days, but amazing illustrators. So I was very inspired by those. And I had been enjoying the collage kind of thing anyway. So I said, yeah, I want this beast to have a sense of patterning, but then the rest of it, I want to draw with this pen. I only have 5 minutes left, but but we did find the drawing, so I'm very happy. And the beast has been good to me. So what's happening in this one is that the princess, who never left the forest, we don't know why she was in the forest in the first place, but where there's a princess, there's the queen, isn't there? And the queen is a beastly queen and has literally turned into a beast here. So perhaps the princess was hiding out in the forest away from her, you see. And the queen is harboring feelings of hatred towards the princess. And I'm not surprised, because she is due the throne, isn't she? And queens, some of them don't like to part with their throne. But this has gone very Arthurian now, because do you remember the dagger? The queen gave the evil prince, who's here on the right, she gave him the dagger to go and um, bump off the princess with. And he failed in his mission, and was ended up in her dungeons as a result, and escaped thanks to the frogs. And now the queen has caught up with them through that weird tunnel. And so if you close the door on the queen, this is how the story's going to end. If you can close the door on the queen, you've got her trapped behind that door. But there has to be some sort of a key to fit into the door. And today the princess is discovering that the dagger is stuck in the keyhole of the door, which is very Arthurian. But it's going to be the princess that saves the day, and not um, some sort of an Arthurian knight, because the knight has his own problems because he's being eaten by the queen. So maybe you can guess what tomorrow's one is going to be, or the day after, because Massive is in there as well, and that has to do with what's going to happen to the dragon. So if she can get the dagger out, she can at least have a chance of defending from the prince from the beast. Because even though the princess tried to kill her, she's not a bad sort, the princess. She's not a bad sort at all. So she's going to try and save the day a little bit. So I'll just make a few strokes with my ink to show you the nib and how the nib works on this particular one. And I like to do a little bit of warming up the nib. You see, I'm such a slob, aren't I? But look how beautiful that nib is. Slightly overloaded at the moment. I know. Sometimes you have to load the nib up I find you have to load the nib up once or twice and wipe off before starting a new session because you can see that I have that a bit dirty, that nib. I'm not clean with things. I like working in a creative mess. And works out all right in the end. So you see how nice that. And listen, when you work on the side, it's so beautiful to scratch. And I actually have another um, thing ordered that's going to be interesting, and I will try it out. I'll show you maybe on one of the lives. It is a glass pen. It's got a glass nib on it, and they're not great for drawing with, I don't reckon. I mean, I haven't used it yet, but I'm thinking they're probably not great for drawing. But they are good for if you're writing something, you can write a continuous line for much longer than you can with a nib, which you're going to have to keep dipping on all the time. But you see, this with the that lovely noise, who wouldn't love that? It's wonderful. So I have 1 minute left, and wasn't the beast kind to me in the end? Thank you, beast. Have a happy Halloween, beast. Will we play out with the same intro, as you might have seen the whole thing on the way in? And there is a ghostly figure appears in it. And I won't see you before Halloween, so have a fantastic Halloween. Uh, I'm hoping to stay in touch with all the creators that I discovered during Inktober and keep checking out their channels, see what they're up to. And I just want to thank you all for helping keep me going during Inktober. And I hoped that my other regular subs enjoyed the whole Inktober thing as well. Because, kind of fun, wasn't it? You get to do approach it your own way, and I got to do another little story, which I always enjoy. So let's see. I'm going to fill all this in with different patterns as well, and enjoy doing that. The prince being eaten there, and I feel confident the princess will be able to save because we like happy endings, don't we? And that one isn't quite dry yet, but look, we've got some shimmer happening in little pools of shimmer. So you can imagine adding that to your ink, even in doing not kind of illustration style stuff, but even, and a lot of the illustration people, I'm like Rackham and people like that, they're fine artists as well, and their skills were just excellent because they had really excellent observational skills as well that they worked very hard on. So although we're working with fantasy stuff at the moment, some of the tricks that we learn in Inktober and the things we get interested in and everything can be used in other work. And how exciting some of this stuff would be in landscape, um, adding little bits of mica powder and seeing how it pools and everything across a big swathe of trees that I'm drawing. I think I would enjoy that very much. So, yeah, thank you again for joining me. I know it was chaos, but where the beast is around, it's always chaos. And enjoy the rest of your Inktober. We don't have very long to go. Congratulations to anybody who made every day or every week in their schedule, whatever you had decided you wanted to do. And congratulations also to those, it's going to sound weird, but also to those people who weren't feeling it early on or something else came up for them, or whatever reason you didn't get to complete Inktober. Um, Still, congratulations for knowing when to quit something, because art is not about torturing yourself, it's about having a good time. Sure, take on new challenges, but know when something isn't working for you, or when you have to deal with something else going on in your life, or what, you know. It's almost miraculous getting this far in it without dreadful mishaps. And it's certainly miraculous that my picture turned up again in the end. Probably get those ink stains on it there, but it did turn up. Nothing else can possibly go wrong, can it?